시작과 끝이 이어져 있다면 만물의 생은 정해져 있을까? 당연한 질문이야. 묻지 않는다면 명령할 수 없을 테니 단식이 자라 허무함이 되면 살만한 이유 한 가지쯤에 붙잡혀 알게 되지. 착각을 거듭해 이루어져 온 세계. 두려울 것 없다. 모든 일이 이어져 왔잖아. 한치도 망설일 것 없다. 파도 쳐도 부서질 것 하나 남지 않았잖아. 잘 됐어. 여기부터 진짜 시작이 될 거야. 절대로 멈추지 마.
Good evening and welcome back to the Dwarven Fortress of Keskalokil, where we are, where we had some entertainment recently when I tried to start up my exciting new swimming pool, and it turned out to be a bit more exciting than we were expecting. It turned out to be able to pump quite a lot of water in quite fast, and then it turned out that the drain system was quite capable of carrying, well, at least dogs and probably dwarves, if any had been foolish enough as to get in there, out to sea. So we've shut it down and we're going to have to fix that. And I think I have some plans for fixing it, but they do depend on quite how hydrostatics work in Dwarf Fortress. And I've read the relevant wiki page and I'm still not certain. So we're going to have to do some experiments. I've also been thinking that maybe I should sort out my actual clothing industry, because we bought a huge pile of leather from the merchants who turned up recently. And also I think I can improve on our quarry bush situation, and I should experiment with that as well, which I will explain in a moment. So maybe we should try to sort that out first. So one issue with older Dwarven fortresses is that everyone's clothes start wearing out, and so they find themselves wanting new ones. And children grow up and they find themselves wanting their first set of clothes. And in either case, dwarves really don't like it if they don't have adequate clothes, and would quite like their clothes not to be worn out as well. So we have some pretty decent stocks of leather and at least some cloth. So we could make clothes, and that's probably a good plan. The Dwarf Fortress Wiki suggests an interesting approach to organising your clothes, whereby you essentially have one stockpile that's for brand new clothes that you've just made, that you link to the clothing production workshops, and another stockpile that is configured to just take all clothes, but that thus gets any article of clothing that's been abandoned for some reason, and you put that close to your trade depot, and then do your very best to get the traders to take all your old clothes away. Seb suggests another stockpile labelled sentimental value. Yes. The dwarves usually keep those in their own bedrooms, like here, for instance. Here is a dwarf who is keeping a bunch of clothes in their bedroom. So I think this kind of plan is a reasonable one, though I'm also kind of inclined to set up a set of stockpiles of those clothes that are the ones that dwarves critically need to be wearing in order not to feel underdressed, so that we can make sure that those don't run out, which is, well, one way to do it would just be, I can't remember the precise set of clothes in each category, but one stockpile of shirts, one stockpile of trousers, one stockpile of shoes would do the job. So my kind of intention here is to build a new room that we are going to have be where we do clothing manufacture and storage and such like, except the charity stockpile will be out on the surface. So, well, maybe we could set that up now. So if we put a largish stockpile here, say, and set it to I think we want to choose armour, but then we need to be, we don't want anything that's actual armour. Capes and cloaks and coats and dresses and frilly dresses, not that we've ever seen a frilly dress, and robes and shirts and togas and tunics and vests. Possibly some kinds of headwear as well, but I don't know quite which of these. Face veils and frilly turbans and head veils and headscarves and hoods. I think jagged caps are probably a kind of armour. And turbans. And bulky socks. And sandals and sheer socks and shoes and socks. And bulky mittens and gloves and mittens and sleek mittens. Yes, we have frilly turbans, apparently. For some reason, this world seems to like making everything frilly. Brays are probably a kind of clothing, aren't they? I'll inspect things that turn up in this. Yes, in this stockpile. I need new gloves too, because I've lost mine. I think leggings actually means chain leggings, but loincloths and long skirts and short skirts and split skirts and thongs and trousers. No shields, nothing made of metal, but things made of plant cloth and leather and silk and yarn should go in there, and all qualities, all that, and both usable and unusable. Right. So that's configured like that. And then I think I want to dig out like an area, I don't know quite how wide, we'll probably change our minds later. There, which we will fill with clothes storage and clothes manufacturing. So the other interesting thing was that I've been trying to make soap out of rock nuts. Sleek mittens seems like a misunderstanding of the concept of mittens. Yes, I've been trying to make soap out of rock nuts and kept running out of rock nuts. Having looked, and I'd attempted to grow rock nuts, and this had apparently not been very successful. It turns out that it probably wasn't very successful, because if you haven't got a really good planter, you probably need fertilizer, and I've been trying to organise that, so not quite understanding it. But it turns out the other critical thing is you actually need to process the plants you get back from growing rock nuts in order to get rock nuts back out. And if you don't do that, then you just end up with a pile of quarry bushes in your stockpiles that no one knows how to use. So I think I should establish, I mean, it probably belongs in the kind of kitcheny area over here, doesn't it? A farmer's workshop where we can process quarry bushes into quarry bush leaves and rock nuts, so that then we can plant the rock nuts. Right, so those are two bits of digging which were eventually going to turn into something useful. Oh, and I worked out what was going on with the statues as well. So I made these platinum statues, and they were all not very good platinum statues. It turns out the reason for that, is that I had set things up so that our best metal crafter, our legendary metal crafter, was making statues. Metal crafters don't know how to make statues. You want a blacksmith for making statues, apparently.
Right.
So let's put our legendary blacksmith onto the task of making statues, and this will probably go a lot better. So if we make, say, 3 platinum statues, I think we've got enough platinum for this now. Like that. So maybe we'll actually get some good platinum statues out. Right, and then on to the swimming pool. So we had 2 problems before. One serious problem and one minor problem. What was that, sorry?
Everything's covered in water?
That's the minor problem. So the serious problem manifested in a drowned dog, because it turned out that the fortifications here, when you get actually flowing water through them, the water just pushes creatures through the fortifications. This, the wiki says, will also happen with wall grates, and I'm going to assume it will happen with vertical bars as well, even though, or wall bars or whatever they're called, even though it doesn't mention that. So if we're going to sensibly strain dwarves out of the water, I think we need to use floor grates instead, which means that we need the water to go downwards. And the problem with that is that it immediately feels like we're going to have a sump, and we're then going to need a pump to drain the sump, and that kind of gets us away from our aim at passively safe, well, theoretically passively safe design, in that we have to have this pump working to keep the pool drained. But I'm not sure we do, because maybe we can have a kind of U-bend and the pressure will push the water out on the far side of it. Like the water should find its level on the two sides, he says, gesturing in a way that no one on the stream can see. And so it will then go up on the outside and drain into the sea. But I'm not sure, based on the wiki, whether that's actually how it works. But I think the best way to find this out is by doing science and testing it. The second problem was that the pump delivered water rather scarily fast into the swimming pool. This is not like catastrophic, but we might want to work out a way of slowing it down. And I have an idea, which is to arrange that we have the water coming up into a reservoir up here, and then a door in front of it that's operated by a pressure plate in front of the door, so that when a dwarf stands on the pressure plate, the door opens and they get hurled off by the water, and then the door closes again so that the water can drain and another dwarf can come and stand on the pressure plate. So that's my idea for that. But we'll do that second, because in particular the current system is probably safe-ish. It's just it's going to flood it may be that dwarves are a bit unwilling to come into this area because it'll be too flooded, which is why I think the pressure plate system is probably going to be better. But if the drain I'm planning doesn't work, we're probably going to want to shift the entire swimming pool up by 1Z level, at which point all of the mechanisms are going to have to be rebuilt anyway. So I'm not going to try to change that until we've tested the new drain system. It would also be good, I think, to actually be able to turn off the pumps without deconstructing the windmill on the top. So I think I'm going to build the windmill slightly offset, because then we can use a gear assembly to connect it to the pump, and then we can have the gear assembly able to be turned off, which would save deconstructing the entire windmill every time, and would also mean that if we deconstruct the pumps, we don't have the windmill collapse because it's only supported by the pumps. So let's build that bit, because that bit's obviously easy to build, and where we're building it, it won't immediately start operating the pump when it's assembled, which would probably be good. So if we put the windmill here, so before we had the windmill there, but if we put it here, then it won't drive anything by default, and it will be stable and won't disappear just because someone demolishes the pumps. And then we can put a gear assembly here in the hole over the pump below, and we can attach a switch to that gear assembly so we can turn things on and off. Admittedly, it will start on, so that will immediately cause flooding as soon as we build the gear assembly. But like, another thing actually I should do, have I got any doors around? Because I think I should put a door at the entrance so that we can lock people out of the swimming pool while we're testing it. So then what I think we want to do down here then is to remove that square of floor there and put a floor grate in there, and then build a kind of sump, well, a kind of U-bend below it. Oops. So it'll go, we're going to need to mine a new way to get through this area. Where are the other blocks? So we probably also actually just want to join this up to the wall on the other side, don't we? Well, except we need to be able to get into this bit. So maybe we want to put a door in here. Well, not in here, but nearby. And then we'll just lock the door once it's full of water. I'm sure that'll be safe. Right. Oh, with all the ground around here is going to be wet, isn't it? Damp, because we've got so much water on the next level up. Oh well, we'll see. Dizzy says, I'm kind of surprised you've categorised the water as a terrifying roar as only a minor problem. Well, the dwarves do like that kind of thing. They like waterfalls. So it's only the power of the pumps is not a problem. It's the fact that they flood the upstairs layer too much that's the big problem. So for that, we just need to adjust the duty cycle a little. That's the plan anyway. Right, let us unpause and allow all this mining and stuff to happen. Yeah, we're already finding damp stone. But it's not dangerously damp stone. It's just annoyingly damp stone. Right, so now we have a route that bypasses those, the new sump. And we have a hole here. I bet I haven't got an adequate quantity of floor grates.
Unfortunately, your blacksmith is currently busy.
That's fine, we can make them out of stone. Oh, we've got one cinnabar floor grate. Excellent.
This does not sound that useful, but
Oh dear, yes, well we knew that. Onul Vaboktung dog, brackets tame, has been missing for a week. Yes, well I know where Onul Vaboktung is.
is that going to upset people?
Yeah, their owner will probably not be happy. I'm slightly confused by the way that the dead or missing doesn't seem to include the dwarf we buried.
Dead but not missing.
Yes, but I think it's meant to be dead and or missing. Oh well. Right, so no, the sump isn't quite prepared yet. There's still one square that someone needs to find the block for. All right, someone injured is hauling the block, it looks like. Or maybe I'm confused. All right, yes, there's the person hauling the block. Oh, it's S. Misha Connell, yes, who is missing a leg but refuses to use a crutch.
I mean, if you're trying to haul something with both hands, it's not clear that doesn't help much anyway.
True.
In terms of how fast the thing ends up moving.
Right, let us construct a leather workshop here. Can I then place around it? That seems good. A leather all kinds of leather stockpile. And we should set that stockpile to take from the big stockpile of everything. among other things. And then once the workshop's complete, so now everyone's going to shift the bins full of leather into that stockpile, which is where they should be. And also let's build a farmer's workshop. So now we have that side of the drain sorted. We still need that bit to be sorted, but we also need the exit side of the drain, and we need to remove those fortifications, don't we? And replace them with solid walls. So what we want is for the water to come back up here. We're going to need to demolish, therefore, the floodgates, at least initially. So initially the drains will just be permanently open, and we'll see if the water comes out of them at all. So then all that we need, right, so then we'll wait for that to complete. Let's make a spare a couple of spare grates, because we're probably going to want them. Right, so now, once we fill the thing with water, it will flood this patch here. Right, and we have our windmill operating happily up there. Right, that's better. Masterpiece platinum statue of Ume Moistness Dissolve. Moistness Dissolve. Let us inspect this statue and then find somewhere to put it. Platinum statue of Ume Moistness Dissolve. This is a masterful platinum statue of Ume Moistness Dissolve created by Udil Bomrek Tozed. The item is a masterfully designed image of Ume Moistness Dissolve, the human, and a elf, and an elf in platinum by Udil Bomrek Tozed. The elf is striking down Ume Moistness Dissolve. The artwork relates to the killing of the human, or Ume Moistness Dissolve, by an elf in the Sea of Mines in the early spring of 101, during Nashramuk, the attack of seizures.
By a elf?
Yes. Well, I occasionally have to correct the grammar in Crusader Kings, so I'm not entirely surprised I occasionally have to correct the grammar here as well. It's still not that valuable, because the item value has been made a little less ludicrous in this version, even for Masterworks. But
It's interesting that this statue depicts an event in a battle, and the victim is a named character, and the perpetrator is some nameless elf. I guess this was, I don't know, some common soldier struck down the big box on the other side or something.
possibly, yes.
Even so, you probably say, well, after they do that, they're not just a common soldier, people remember their name.
Maybe. So now let's build a wall here. To replace the fortification. Let us see if we can erect that statue somewhere. We appear still to have a platinum statue of chickens waiting to be assembled. Let's put the platinum statue of chickens in the Farmers Guild Hall, even though they don't want it. Well, even though I've lost my... that's not going to help. BFU. Even though they no longer... Even though I failed in my attempt at giving them a proper guild hall, it's not a good platinum statue of chickens. Pinkby says, bit behind, but dwarves wear thongs? Well, some creatures wear thongs, and dwarves can occasionally acquire them. Possibly goblins wear them. Right, so, meanwhile, we were sorting out this clothing emporium. So now we have a leather works and a supply of leather very close to it. So now I think I want to make some stockpiles. I think I want to make a little stockpile for shirts, etc. So we want to go armour. I can't remember what other than shirts will do the job. Maybe I could look it up. But shirts will work. Shirts are the major thing. Those are the thing. That's the thing I can make. Made out of silk and yarn and plants and leather. All qualities. Probably I only want to select usable. And I want to say no bins there, so that I can see how many I've got. Okay. And we want to set that up to not take from anywhere, but to only take from the leather workshop. Then let's do the same thing again, but for trousers. I mean, I think skirts are allowed as well, but dwarves don't make skirts.
Don't make them, but they do exist in the game.
Yes, humans probably make them and make them in the wrong size. I bet elves like having skirts. Yarn, silk, plant, leather. All only usable, but frankly we shouldn't ever have anything here that's not usable. No bins. And shoes. I can remember that socks are allowed as well as shoes.
Dwarfs know that.
Yes. Feet. All usable. Don't take from anywhere other than the leatherworks. Don't use bins. Right. Then I think I need to dig some more out. I think we need to dig this. No, rectangular digging, please. Up to the point where we're almost crashing into the kitchens. Because then we're going to want the general new clothing stockpile, but I think I'll leave that until we start encroaching from the other end. We'd quite like it if someone carried away some of the like floodgates and such from here, because otherwise they're going to get washed into the sea when we start draining things. Ah, they found the dead dog. Right, so now we have a wall that will stop dwarves getting swept out to sea. So now what we probably want to do is to channel that square there to allow the water to come back up again from the U-bend. Right, meanwhile, we've got this space. So my plan now is that I stick on the other side of this a clothier's workshop so that we can also make clothes out of cloth. So we'll put around that a cloth stockpile, which will give to the clothier's shop. And then that gap in between will be the general new clothes stockpile. Dizzy, it says, is this U-bend with a filter going to do that thing bathroom plugs do and get full of black mould and hairs and clog up with leftover fragments of soap? Probably not.
Only because the water is gushing through it.
I mean, since it has a filter on the input and a filter on the output, I think the filter on the output won't catch anything, and any stuff will get stuck on the input filter, and the dwarves will be able to get at it there and clean it. Like, actually, what's most dangerous in this sort of situation is that you'll get like blood or forgotten beast juice or other unpleasant substances get into the water, and then it's quite hard to clean. Right, so this is going to be, I think it's going to be essentially a custom thing. I think we'll allow for almost anything as long as it's not made of metal and is instead made of leather or plant cloth or silk or yarn and is usable. And like the others, doesn't take from everywhere, but will take from there, and ideally will take from there, but I bet I can't select that. Oh, I can select that even before it's been built. Right. So now let's go back to the other stockpiles. So I think each of these should actually also be willing to take from the general new clothing stockpile and the clothier's shop. Right. Right, so now we have a hole in the ground here out of which water can spray excitingly. So now have I got a hatch yet, a grate yet to put over that? Yes, right, let us put a microcline grate over that so that it's harder for people to fall into it. So there's now a door here, so I think we could safely lock that door. That's the floor grate, Ben. So that no one will attempt to enter the swimming pool from that end. And similarly, before we start flooding it, we should lock the door to the sump. Right, we have a shortage of empty bags apparently. Okay, let's well, I mean, making one cloth bag is probably not going to help me much, but it'll test that things work properly. Why is someone lugging a anvil around? I thought we sold all the anvils. Oh, and that stockpile there, of course, should take from... What? That's the wrong way round. That stockpile, the cloth stockpile, should not take from the clothier's shop. It should give to the clothier's shop and take from stockpile number 1. This one should be doing something similar. Take from 1, give to leather workshop. Now, of course, that task immediately got cancelled because the stockpile's empty at the moment. That will be fixed very shortly. People are now starting at least to haul cloth in there. Meanwhile, let us fill up those stockpiles of new clothes by scheduling 10 leather trousers and 10 leather shirts and 10 leather shoes, which will actually, I hope, be 20 leather shoes, but I'm not quite sure. Actually, that will probably, the stockpile will probably have to have individual shoes in it, won't it? So it won't quite work right anyway. Right, the Guildhall agreement with the Humble Company has been satisfied because that new statue that we installed has upgraded the Ancient Truth to a value of 10,100, which is just big enough to qualify as a Grand Guildhall. Right. Now let's try to find some space in this one. It's only a little bit short, so maybe we can go... Well, we'll give you the next best statue. We haven't got a Masterwork statue available, but... So let's make 10 cloth bags, actually, and let's see how that works. Blah, blah, blah. Right. Oh, have we got an extra leather workshop over here that I don't want us to be using? Yes, we have. No, I'm going to demolish that leather workshop. It's in the wrong place. Right, someone is now making leather trousers in the correct workshop. Small child comes along and picks up a toy and takes it away with them. Right, so we've got that grate installed. We've locked both of the relevant doors. I think we can now try building a gear assembly up here. Out of a microcline mechanism and see what excitement ensues. So here's the person who is doing the job. They have picked up a mechanism and installed it. So the pump is now running again, as we can tell by the fact that, let's switch back to depth view, by the fact that we've got plenty of water up here. So now let's see if this water escapes or if it just fills up the entire swimming pool. Hold on tight. So it's now getting down there. Hang on. This isn't working at all. Right, this is going to be interesting to fix. You remember I carefully removed the wooden floor. What I didn't do was dig through the ground underneath the wooden floor. So the drain doesn't actually have a hole underneath it, which means that this isn't actually going to drain anywhere. Right, well, let's quickly schedule that gear assembly for demolition, but we're probably going to have quite a lot of water we have to dispose of. Stoats. At least I think that's what's happened. Let's have a look at the correct. So that square there, yes, contains a cinnabar floor grate on top of some muddy shale. That's not going to do very well. We need a cinnabar floor grate on top of open, empty space, which is why no water is getting out. Right. Yeah, there's going to be quite a lot of water in here by the time we finish, and we have to work out a way to get it out, ideally without killing anyone. I mean, if we just knock down the wall on this side, they'll just get swept out across the desert, probably, and the water will eventually evaporate. Okay, there's a more serious problem, which is that once it gets up to this level, it will start flowing down this staircase and flooding the actual fortress. I'm going to slap a door. We might not be able to do it in time, but I'm going to slap a door in here. Oh, that's still going to flood the... Do we have other accesses to that temple? Because otherwise we're going to flood that temple as well. I mean, I hope someone is on their way to demolish that gear assembly. Have we got a hatch cover available? Right, okay. Let's see how fast people can fix this problem then. Like, there's a lot of space for the water to flow out into. It's probably going to be okay. But here it comes. Right, here's a dwarf bringing a door, which will stop this layer flooding, but I don't actually think that's the highest priority. I think getting that hatch cover into place is a higher priority. Here comes a dwarf carrying a hatch cover. It's a 4-year-old child is going to fix the problem. Possibly someone's already demolished that gear assembly. Right, the gear assembly has been demolished. Our problem is of strictly limited size. Oh, actually, that drain has saved me again. This drain here is taking at least half of the water. So I think actually we're not going to have a problem, because the drain that avoided flooding the fortress last time is at least limiting the flooding of the fortress this time. Right, and the hatch cover's installed, so the flooding of one of the bedrooms and the temple has now been stopped. Just wondering if anyone is enjoying the waterfalls. Content being near a waterfall. Well, yes. The fact that it was an unintentional waterfall is neither here nor there. Someone has given birth to a child. Yeah, and this flooding is not going to... That's little enough flooding that it'll all dry up in due course. Like the child who installed the floor grate is now happily playing next to it in ankle-deep water. Right, so now our only problem is that the swimming pool is still full of water. But I think if we let it out on this side, it will cause some excitement as it comes out, but I don't think anyone's going to drown as a result. Unless I can think of a cleverer approach. But I don't think I can. Right. So let's demolish that wall. And that's going to be exciting for the person who demolishes it, because suddenly all the water on the other side of it is going to emerge and spread out all over the floodplain, all over the desert. But we appear to have a booze problem again. Where's all our honey got to? I suspect we're out of jugs. Sadly, we cannot, unless, if I had planned for this, we could probably arrange to demolish the wall from a distance. But while we do have saltpeter, we don't have the ability to turn it into dynamite, or not dynamite, into gunpowder, I'm afraid. So we're going to demolish the wall from diagonally adjacent, you'll notice, not too dangerous. And then run like hell. There we go. No one drowned at all. I mean, admittedly, it's early days yet. That water's going to spread quite a long distance.
By the like shallow.
Yes, but even quite shallow water could carry you off.
Clean towels.
She's going to slightly flood the beehives.
Wet bees.
Right, that's a reasonably safe water level now. It hasn't actually got into the beehives even. So we have a shirt there. Is anyone actually going to put that into its correct place? Meanwhile, over here we have a someone encrusting crutches still further. So yes, you may remember our dwarven caravan asked for crutches. Now, unlike with other things, crutches aren't intrinsically very valuable unless you like make them out of platinum or something, but we haven't got much valuable metal. We could make them out of iron, but that would be a faff. So instead what I've done is I've made a small number of wooden crutches, and I'm now blinging them as bling as you can possibly bling. So this superior quality wooden crutch is encrusted with octagon cut chrysoprases and exceptionally worked round brilliant cut picture jaspers, encircled with bands of finely crafted emerald cut banded agates. It's adorned with hanging rings of superior quality blue jade and finely crafted citrine. On the item is an exceptionally designed image in engraved chalcedony by Edem Tirist Selor. It relates to the destruction of the dreams of the group of the destruction of Dreams of the Group in shoot test in the mid-spring of 102. I think that was one of the was that one of the scrolls that got stolen by a giant Kia. On the item is a superiorly designed image of Victory by the Goblin, the moss opal-bound codex in turquoise by Edem Tirist Selor. On the item is an exceptionally designed image of Ingle Elderhaven's The Day of Adventuring, the Cyclops, and Odom Tong Snakes, the Dwarf, in Morion by Edem Tirist Selor. Odom Tong Snakes is striking down Ingle Elderhaven's The Day of Adventuring. The artwork relates to the killing of the Cyclops, Ingle Elderhaven's The Day of Adventuring by the dwarf Odom Tong Snakes with a bismuth bronze warhammer in shoot test in the late summer of 102 during the rampage of the Cyclops, Ingle Elderhaven's The Day of Adventuring in shoot test. On the items is a finely designed image of a cacao tree in tiger iron by Edem Tirist Selor. On the item is a superiorly designed image of a table cut gem in brown jasper by Edem Tirist Selor.
The gem in the image is unspecified, but the image is made of brown jasper.
Yes. So this is like a reasonably valuable crutch now.
By virtue of being completely covered in assorted art.
Yes. And like we haven't run out of cut gems yet. So yes, water with a depth of 1 will eventually evaporate. So all of this water will evaporate. But if I just left the swimming pool full of water, it wouldn't have evaporated. So let us remove that floor grate so that we can dig a hole underneath it. Right, floor grate removed. Now dig a hole where the floor grate was.
Yes, this is mandatory to see.
So who have we got who's actually good? Have we got any good leather workers? Nope. Right. In that case, let's just allow people to work leather as and when they feel like it. And we might end up with some good leather workers in due course. We do have one competent clothier. So let us initially just have her do the clothes making, which should make things a bit faster. Dizzy says, if your hydrostasis experiment fails, the same flood will happen again, right? Good point. Maybe we should have a way to drain it safely. It worked this time, it'll be fine. Right, so now we have open space there. So now we can build a new floor grate there. We could construct a door in this hole and then have that operated by a lever somewhere else. But like, it did appear to work perfectly well. I mean, the block that was used to build the wall has ended up all the way over here as a result of being caught in the flood. I was intending to connect up the gear mechanism to a lever, but like, it became rather urgent to get it destroyed first. Right, so now cinnabar floor grate over open space, and indeed we've got some water has fallen down into the sump already. Right, now, small child, it's not helpful for you to be playing make-believe there. Oh well, we'll wait for you to finish playing make-believe. There we go. And then erect a wall there. I think we should also set this stockpile to take from stockpile number 1, so that if clothes end up in stockpile number 1, they'll be moved. Right, we've now resealed that wall. We now have a drain that stands slightly more chance of working. So let us reassemble the gear assembly. If I put the gear assembly in before the windmill, I could of course have connected it up to a lever before the windmill was built and thus disengaged it safely, except I think it might have deconstructed itself if I'd done that, because it wouldn't have been supported by anything. I'm not sure. Anyway. Let's find the dwarf who's building the gear assembly. Okay, she's carrying her child with her. I'm sure this will be fine. This is the child that's just been born.
What happens if the dwarf carrying a newborn child is lured into your unexpected swimming lesson?
Then I expect the child will learn to swim as well.
Okay.
We'll find out eventually. Right, gear assembly reassembled. Here comes the water again. Here comes the water actually flowing down into the sump. The sump is now full. And the water is... It's hard to tell what's happening there. The water doesn't seem to be stacking up on the input side, but it doesn't seem to be emerging on the output side either. What? Where's the water going? Like, to an extent, I don't mind. Like there's some leaking out through the upper floor drain as we were expecting. And like this is stuffed full of water, but none of it's leaking inside here. It's not pouring downwards. It's not flooding these layers. It's meant to be coming out here though. Well, like I'm not sure I mind this. I'm just a bit confused by it. So the weirdness around here, I think, is just the suction from the input pump. And that occasionally leads to cavitation, but that's fine. Yes, yes, I indeed was, what I was expecting was that the water would pile up in here to a level of 7/7 and then maybe start working. Or maybe not, and we'd have to knock the wall down again. And like we've got the leaks we had before, but that's fine. We're hoping once we install the hydraulic dwarfer bolt, this will be safer. As in we'll be putting less water in. I'm a little worried we may actually have to have a decent flow of water just to keep the swimming pool full though, given that it appears to just disappear, as it were. That's weird. As Dizzy says, flooding problem, build a siphon and the water will vanish. These weird sixes are, I think, the suction from the pump causing ripples out across the sea. Which is kind of fun. We haven't, of course, checked that the system doesn't also vanish dwarves. So what I shall do, let's hook up a lever to that gear mechanism, gear assembly, so we can turn the water off again without having to deconstruct things. So it says, can you test it with pineapples or something? Well, I did check, and we do actually have an unnamed guinea pig in the fortress, so that's obviously what I should test it with. We'll do that in a moment. Right, and we should have some bags now, so maybe now I can process plant to bag. Is that the one I want, or do I want processed plants, or do I want... But I don't know which option I want. Let's try processing a plant to a bag and seeing what happens. Well, the task's active, apparently. And someone's processing a quarry bush. Excellent, that's what I want to process. Oh, they're going off to find a bag now, I think. Picked up a bag from the... I think we should possibly put a corridor between these two rooms. It's rather a long walk otherwise. Process, 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 process. No, we need a bag to do whatever it is you do with the quarry bush. I'm going to see what happens at the end. I'm sure I'll understand plants eventually. Right, and that has now produced a bag full of quarry bush leaves and a rock nuts. Well, a rock nut, which we can then either, it's one unit of rock nuts, which we can then grind up and press to get rock nut oil, which we can use to make soap, or we can plant it to get more quarry bushes. And meanwhile, the leaves can be cooked. Right, okay, that process works then. Let's reduce the numbers a bit. Let's make this. This is not going to need to be done lots. So let's make it a greater than 1 and just process one of them. Oops. Why is that set to give to the clothier's shop? That's no good. Take from the clothier's shop. That's better. And indeed, take from the new clothes stockpile. No, take from the new clothes stockpile. Hang on, what? The selected stockpile, shirts, will take from here. Yes, okay. I think that's the right way around now. That one, I got them all the right way round. So these shirts should be being moved into the stockpile. Why are they not? Leather, shirts. Do I need to turn on unusable armour as well? All core qualities, all total qualities. And like we have various shirts in here. So has that lever been made yet? Yes, right. So then we should be able to go link this lever to that gear assembly. Right, looks like we have someone whose primary skill is now leatherworking. That may not actually mean that they're any good at it, mind. Oh yes, you're an adequate leather worker now. Right, you're going to become my primary leather worker. Right, now, now let us also adjust this so that in the spring we will fertilise it . Let's say fertilise every season. We've got some potash lying around. and plant quarry bushes. And we'll try to have lots of rock nuts available, and then we'll hope that that works well. Oh, do we have a good planter now? I think that's, I've sorted that already. Where are planters? Planters. Only the selected do this, and we have one talented planter who will be doing it. Excellent. You can see that most of the water in the cavern, in the thing, has dried up now. It's still a bit flooded out there. So the lever is not yet linked. I think ideally we would store seeds down here. I wonder if we can safely do that. So seeds don't appear on their own there. Oh, here they are. So let us make a rock nuts stockpile, and as usual it should take from stockpile number 1. Right, the microcline gear assembly is now attached. So if we pull that lever, actually let's give it a name as well. If we then pull that lever, then even though the windmill is still going, the pumps have stopped. Hooray! We are processing things to bags. We've got quite a lot of booze suddenly because I made some booze. Right, so what I think I want to do now is to test this. Let us remove that meeting hall and instead install an animal pen up here. And then we will suggest that the stray, where is it? Stray KV pup should be installed in that animal pen. We'll have to unlock the door to let someone in, obviously. Pen/pasture stray KV pup. A 6-year-old child has been designated to do this job. They are not a very happy 6-year-old child. Right, collected KV pup. Taking it on the rather complicated route to the swimming pool. We seem to be having a general problem with these clothing stockpiles because none of them seem to be accumulating any clothes at all. I've clearly screwed that up somehow and I need to find the button to make them work.
Good point. That child is healthy and also sickly.
Healthy as in not currently not currently unwell, sickly as in prone to illness, I think.
But tough.
Right. Okay, now child, please leave the KV pup. Do not play make-believe in the death zone. I'm sure you'll get round to leaving eventually. Right, there we go. Child has left. Let's lock the door behind the child. So here is our KV pup. Here is our lever, which if we pull, it will cause the pump to start again. Let us watch the KV pup and see where it goes. See if it mysteriously vanishes. So someone is probably pulling the lever, and there, the KV pup is in the water. The KV pup is not drowning. KV pup continues not to drown. KV pup is desperately trying to get back into its pen, but is notably not drowning. Well, that was pretty good. Let's try it again. Pull the lever to turn off the pump. And then open the door. And someone will bring the KV back up to the top of the pool. Yes, the KV pup has not only not drowned, it has also not vanished. Right, it's back in place.
Now you have two dwarves of orange unhappiness.
Yeah, I'll have a look at those in a moment.
I assume one of them is the one who's been generally unhappy forever. But
I think actually that one has cheered up quite a bit. And pull the lever. KV pup is slightly dazed by the experience, but still has neither drowned nor vanished. Excellent. Let's do it a third time just to make sure it's not a fluke. Steph asks, can it swim? Dunno. No, can't do anything at all. Completely useless. Sorry. I mean, I don't know quite what it takes to teach a KV pup to swim. Right, the pump is off. Unlock the door. Yes, it has not drowned at any point. This is important. Right, so we now actually have some rock nuts stored like close to the farm plot we're going to plant them in. Oh, we should probably also have a stockpile of potash down here, shouldn't we? Right, final test before we start like putting dwarves through this thing. Oh, that happened before I could even get back to watch the pup. I mean, my major problem here is that there isn't enough water. The water's draining away a bit too fast. Right, okay, I think I'm going to declare the swimming pool safe. Which means we leave the pump running, we unlock the door, we remove the pen/pasture, and incidentally reassign that KV pup back to its normal one so that it keeps eating. And instead we make a meeting area up there. Right, dwarves, come and enjoy the waterfall. Well, a cat's come up to enjoy the waterfall. I think, briefly. We were going to have a surprise pressure plate arrangement, but I thought I would see whether it worked like this first. In particular, because I'm worried that the surprise arrangement will not put nearly enough water into the bottom of the pool. Well, there's a surprise dog. Whee! Splish. She is relieved being near a waterfall. Right, okay, this mostly appears to be a place for dogs to play and run around. Whee! Right, yes. Dog zooms off. There's a puppy in there. What have you mandated the construction of now? Oh, you want me to make some pics? Okay, well, I'll just do that through the order system. Oh, no. I'm like keeping a slight eye on the world just in case I suddenly discover that all my dwarves have ended up in the ocean. Let's just say I don't entirely trust this swimming pool yet. A goose is visiting. You might hope that a goose could swim, but no. No, the goose has decided that's too dangerous. Oh, the dogs are zooming past again. They enjoy it. Yes, possibly we need to put a statue in here or something. Right, well, our dwarven fortress is now 4 years old. Spring has arrived. It is true that our swimming pool appears to be mostly populated by dogs. And one thing I thought that might help would be to construct a lever that people could come and pull occasionally. I mean, just asking the dwarves to construct a lever here, all right, that's going to be quite tricky because there's all this water in the way. Right, let's try turning off the pump then. so that the water can then drain out. Right, and then we'll build a lever here, because that way it will be quite easy to instruct dwarves to come up here and do things. Like, it still seems to be mostly popular with dogs, mind. Oh, a vile force of darkness.
Well, if you're really lucky, they'll accidentally wander in.
They've sent goblin crossbowmen again. Right. So last time the big problem was that the goblin crossbowmen came up here and shot my animals from across the river. Well, let's station the troops a short distance away. I still haven't organised sensible footwear for them, have I? Happily, they've got distracted by the local wildlife. Okay, the local wildlife is not going to survive very long, though. But, like, please, by all means, use all your ammunition shooting the local wildlife. Like, how many? You've got 26 arrows at the moment. Yeah, it's going to take you a while to use all your ammunition. But they are basically pouring ammunition pouring their crossbow bolts into this giant cardinal. Yep. I think the poor giant cardinal may be dead, because the goblins seem to have stopped firing. Yes, sadly the giant cardinal has died, which means the goblins may need to find something else to attack. So my army has organised itself up here.
So after you shoot arrows into a thing, do you get the arrows back?
They exist, but by default they're marked as not as forbidden, i.e. so that they can't. But some of them will get destroyed, some of them will survive, but they will be marked as forbidden by default, at least as far as your dwarves are concerned, in order that they don't rush out into the battlefield and try to pull arrows out of that half-dead goblin. Or indeed that dead goblin surrounded by very much not dead goblins. So I don't know quite. So all of these arrows here have twiddly braces around them, which indicate that they are forbidden. Which means that at least my dwarves will not attempt to do anything with them. I suspect the goblins similarly won't attempt to do anything with them. Which means that all of that ammunition is now unavailable to the goblins, but they've got plenty more.
But you can retrieve it later once the goblins are
Yes.
dealt with.
And possibly they've retrieved some. Let's just quickly lock the front door to be on the safe side. And, as usual, a couple of goblin thieves as well. Well, we'll deal with them after we've dealt with the... after we've dealt with the vile force of darkness. I should turn off... Now, I should turn off this pasture when the goblins get close enough to start scaring the animals. Though, admittedly, there's a goblin. Sneaking in. Right, so here come the vile force of darkness up the side of the river. Right, yes, you've spotted another one. I'd like the goblins to be mostly on this side of the river. Right, now those are fleeing. Now we want to disable this pasture so that we don't try to... no one tries to get the animals back into it. And I think now what we should do is advance the armies into there. As the animals flee. I think we could now say kill everything in... Can I do that? That rectangle. Which is not quite all of the goblins, but is most of them. Confirm. So have you shot at some of my... Yes. They're hurting some of our animals. And indeed... Oh, a militia commander has actually caught up with a goblin crossbowman. I didn't even notice that happening. Oh no, that's probably the militia commander fighting earlier. Yes. This is the current fight. Stoats. But the nice thing about wearing a steel mail shirt is that an iron crossbow bolt will bruise you, but no worse. Oops. And of course, if you have a shield, I should actually look at what's happening to the goblin crossbowmen. Right, so yes, we're still at the point of everyone converging on the goblins. There is a slight problem that one of the dwarves has brought her son with her, who is not wearing any armour. But here we have our first engagement. So Mace Dwarf blocks that flying copper bolt.
Oh, Jedi Mace Dwarf.
They're quite good with their shields. So, and then that Recruit attacks the giant goblin, the goblin crossbowman, but she jumps away. So anyone else near engaging? I don't think so. Goblin crossbowman, I've improved my archery. That was not satisfying.
I guess you get to be a goblin by never being satisfied with anything.
One of them has successfully shot one of our turkeys. Mace Dwarf jumps away from the flying copper bolt. Recruit misses the goblin crossbowman. This is a slight problem with the fact that we haven't done any military training. They're flailing a bit.
Well, I mean, we're doing military training right now.
Yes.
On the job training.
Oh, death. I feel very uneasy. Yes, well, so you should. None yet. Well, oh, possibly there's like a dead turkey or something that they've shot. Well, there was that dead giant cardinal, if nothing else. Right, well, that's probably a good start.
Got a morning star stuck in the enemy.
Yes. And another bit of excellent blocking. Not quite sure what that means. Right, got the Morning Star back out of the goblin. But second strike didn't work quite so well. Mostly people are dodging crossbow bolts at this point.
Well, that will only last so long. Presumably on the ground crossbow bolts are fun at.
Seems to be only one goblin currently being engaged, which is this one, which is probably for the best. That's a good way to defeat them. That goblin was satisfied with improving their skills. Goblin crossbowman has become enraged, having been stabbed in the lower body, with the consequence of tearing their left kidney through their Mulmarian leather leggings. Because, well, yes, if you're going to turn up in leather leggings.
That was my favourite leggings.
Yes, and my favourite kidney. Right, yes, I think that crossbowman can no longer operate a crossbow, having had their left hand torn with a Morning Star. So that's a good start. That one's, and their left arms vigorously stabbed. Hooray for decent weaponry. Right, you can probably ignore that goblin now. Can I adjust the kill order to say don't bother killing that goblin? You should go after this goblin instead. Well, actually, no, you should go after all the remaining goblins, really. I mean, if you're going to insist on killing that one, I won't mind, but Yes, like you can stop now. I mean, not technically dead, but really will be very shortly. How's the bowman doing? Bowman is still unharmed. Right, well, we attacked the bowman at least, but the bowman jumped away. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh well, I'm sure we'll see some events soon. That one's not had anything interesting happen, but that goblin is now being vigorously beaten up as well. Good. Sorry, you no longer have a leg. Flying arrow. Right, that goblin is now permanently out of commission. That goblin is still technically able to operate a crossbow, a bow, but probably will not be much longer. That one is still reasonably far away, but everyone has a shield. So I don't think that goblin is going to last long. There's these two coming in. But similarly, oh, you're mostly leaping away. Oh dear, we've actually suffered an injury. Flying copper arrow strikes the recruit in the left lower leg. Because not wearing boots. We need to fix the boot situation with our military. Well, you're quite good at dodging. I think this dwarf is this goblin is, yeah, has managed to get stabbed once, but is mostly being missed and leaping away. Where have they got to? There's another dead goblin. So this is our, oh dear, a very injured baby. Well, at least a somewhat injured baby. Oh, okay, no, not injured at all. Just dizzy and nauseous by being outside. That's fine, we don't mind that. And horrified and disgusted and generally unhappy, but, you know, that's what you get for being on a battlefield. Right, they've got another goblin. That, I think, is our recruit who got injured. Yes. Left lower leg is cut open. Yeah, that's going to need some repair, but you'll be fine. There's only one goblin remaining on your side of the world anyway. This one's probably not long for the world. Okay, that goblin is doing a pretty decent job of dodging. Right. Yes, we only have... Where have they got to? There. Right upper arm is cut open, but hasn't actually dropped her weapon. Her weapon? His weapon? Overview, her weapon. Ah, she's fallen over now. Yes, that will do it. Hacked in the right foot. Right, I think there's only those two problematic goblins left. Oh no, we've got three problematic goblins left. Well, let's make sure... I presume the problem is I don't want them to stop being soldiers when they... The thieves, oh, they're kicking around somewhere. But like if they haven't thefted anything, they're probably a low priority. One of the goblins... Oh no, that's not one of those ones, is it? We still have one goblin thief around. Oh, they've got a child. Right, we should fix that. Don't know if they can escape that way, but... Your priority is get that goblin. Yes, they can't get across the river happily. I think mostly we have a problem that all of our dwarves are stacked up in a big pile here. What would be most helpful would be if you lot could go after the goblin thief. Who is currently trying to work out how to cross the river. Right, now they're heading in the right direction, albeit doing it by running very close to the edge of the sea, which makes me quite nervous. Right, goblin thief dealt with. Now, are there any of the crossbow men left? yeah, we kind of reduced that goblin thief into little pieces. Right, it looks like they slaughtered the remaining crossbowmen. So now we can unlock the front door. If I can do... Oh, right, yes. I tried to kill things, didn't I? Right. We can unlock the front door and retrieve the wounded. Yes, that's a nice message to receive. The axe dwarf hacks the goblin bowman in the head with his steel battle axe, and the severed part sails off in an arc. Cough, parabola. Right, yes, you can go and seek your infants now. Oh, and haul all of the animals back to where they're meant to be. We should also dispose of the goblin corpses. I think I'm losing track of where they are. I presume the child that they stole has now been returned, collected. Actually, I think the child was old enough to walk away on their own, so... I hope someone is doing a recover wounded job. Right, yes, good. 3 people are recovering wounded. That goblin corpse also needs to be disposed of, as does that goblin tooth. Yes, we had a plausible looking hematite vein here, didn't we? Let's set about mining that. Right, 2 people have been recovered back here. What happened to them? I mean, mostly you appear to have been dismembering goblins quite effectively. Oh yes, we're going to have to sort out some happiness, aren't we? Oh right, yes, here's what happened. Lower legs. We need to sort out their boots, we really do. The flying iron bolt strikes the militia captain in the right lower leg, chipping the bone through the Ruthra leather trousers. See, dwarves have bones. Probably all the death, yes. A ligament has been torn and a tendon has been torn. The iron bolt has lodged firmly in the wound. The force bends the right knee, tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone, and tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone. That's probably excessive. A ligament has been bruised and a tendon has been bruised. The militia captain falls over. The militia captain pulls out and drops the iron bolt. But nonetheless, Vutok Bomrekak's knee is probably a little unwell now. Like, this hasn't stopped him hacking up several goblins thereafter. But yes, his right lower leg is in a bit of a mess. Happily, we've got crutches. So what happened to you? You got bruised by an arrow. Oh right, there we are. Struck you in the lower body through the trousers despite wearing a... oh dear. Oh yes, but that was still only a bruise. Yes, your left lower leg got chipped through your bugbat leather trousers. Yes. Right, we need some steel high boots for everyone. There's probably still one recover wounded job going on. Yes, where are you? Oh right, our Esmisha Connell, who has a broken leg, a missing leg, is trying to recover a wounded dwarf. Like, that's probably not the best thing to be doing. You're going to find it quite hard. I think actually I'm going to try to detach you from that job and say someone else should do that task. If I can. I can't do it there. Can I do it under the people instead? I thought there was an option somewhere to detach, to say, no, don't do that job you're currently doing. But I can't find it now. Oh, there's that. But recover wounded doesn't appear to get that button. Does it? No, I can't stop Esmisha Connell from recovering wounded. Oh well. This is going to be a rather slow recovery, I'm afraid. Oh dear, one of our animals starved to death because we didn't provide it with anywhere. Okay, you're able to recover him pretty swiftly, it turns out. Right. Let's also dispose of these pieces of goblin. Looks like there might be some pieces of goblin left here too. Seb asks, why are some of your walls pink? Don't know that I've got any pink walls, have I? I'll have a look around. We've got some red here, which is because they're because they're soaked in blood. And they're made of bauxite, which also tends to make things red. Similarly, these ones are red because they're covered in blood because someone's been fighting goblins next to them. I think that's as pink as we should have. There are some red and white ones. These ones are red and white because they're made of clay loam. These ones are made of silty clay. These ones are red and white because they're made of kaolinite. I think I've still got some bits of dead goblin that need disposing of, yes. Oops. Somewhere down here there's a goblin's neck that needs to be got rid of too. And how are things going with repairing the poor injured dwarf? So it's been brought to rest, evaluated, cleaned with rocknut soap, had their knee sutured and dressed, their leg, right lower leg dressed. Probably not much left to do. Now we just got a cast on their right lower leg. And now someone just needs to check whether there's anything else needed. Meanwhile, on this side, left lower leg still needs dressing and immobilisation. Like last trip, got a crutch and such like. And we'll need another one shortly. But like none of the dwarves died this time. Right, whoever it was who was injured there has departed. So rapidly I didn't see them go. Let's actually watch this one. So yes, the dwarves are bustling around healing patients, and this farmer is now officially sorted. Slight pain, has had their plaster cast put on their leg, has received a crutch. Is it a really exciting crutch? No, it's a very dull crutch. It feels optimistic after being able to rest and recuperate. Didn't feel anything while in combat. Was afraid while experiencing trauma, though. And hopeless after suffering a major injury. But I hope the optimism over being able to rest and recuperate, it will make things better again. Even though, you know, it's your second major injury. Misha Connell still has not actually thought of getting their own crutch. And our newly arrived injured dwarf. Yes, both legs badly injured. Okay, the left lower leg only needs a dressing, so might be able to walk. Though I'm not so sure. It's kind of unsatisfactory, but so far, I think our major problem, you'll notice all the injuries are leg injuries. The problem is that I don't have the armour set up, the uniforms set up correctly to have the dwarves wear iron boots. I think if they were wearing proper safety boots, things will be a lot better. That statue is not being constructed properly. Have another go at constructing the statue. I appreciate there is someone standing where the statue has to go. But I don't know there's much more I can do with it than just like unpause the construction occasionally. But that, I suppose I could turn off that guild hall temporarily. Tell people stop meeting there. What's that lying around in there? Someone's left an arm in our hospital. Let's get rid of that. There's a starved llama in the swimming pool at the moment. We'll fix that too.
There's a starved llama in the swimming pool?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're allowed to grow attached to a copper mace. I mean, I'd prefer it if you grew attached to something a bit more effective, but still. Does this update, I wonder, if we just leave it on this page? Don't think so, no. Right, and our final dwarf has a crutch and has set off to, to go drinking apparently. Currently be a bit slow because they're learning how to use a crutch. She feels restless after being unable to rest and recuperate, but euphoric due to inebriation. Right, let's work out what our really unhappy dwarves are suffering from. No, that's not the right one. Different button I want. She says, I feel so good while being extremely stressed. That's kind of confusing. There's been a lot of trauma in her life, it looks like. Rather oddly, the other major problem is not having enough goblets, cups or mugs. Right, maybe we should produce a batch of goblets. We've got a bunch of gold there which we could smelt. So let's do 6 rounds of smelting gold, and we'll make some gold goblets. And now that are any actual dwarves going to the swimming pool? No, it seems the swimming pool is still mostly popular with animals. Well, let's start the pumps again. Then mark that lever to be pulled repeatedly. Right, here is a child who is coming to pull the lever. They are 6 years old and they're about to learn to swim. Maybe. Whee! Again. Oh no, that was a bit too exciting. But the pull the lever task is still there, so maybe someone else will have a go. I think that... Oh no, pigs are reasonably safe, aren't they? Oh, here comes someone. 7 years old and about to pull the lever. Whee! Delighted being near a waterfall. "12-year-old child comes to try to pull the lever." I think may have actually successfully pulled the lever. Also delighted due to being near a waterfall. Is repeatedly trying to pull this lever. I think. Has decided to try to clean up some of the blood. There's still a pull the lever task. So, I mean, this does at least appear to be providing happiness. In that dwarves keep turning up and being cheered by being hurled over the edge. Whee! So yes, this does actually appear to, the lever trick does appear to work fairly well. I mean, I'm not sure anyone's actually learning to swim here. Plus we have puppies zooming around all over the place. Can we get our unhappy dwarves to have splishy fun? We could have a go, couldn't we? Who is unhappy? I mean, probably can't do it with the baby. Like, fundamentally, our baby is being baby. Is simply too young to have had any good thoughts. Has been horrified by dying goblins. Claims to have experienced trauma, but like, no, you seem fine. I'm slightly alarmed by the fact you have a long beard at the age of 1, but still. But yeah, don't like seeing goblins die, don't like the sun. But let's try the others. So, you are... I mean, many of your recent experiences have been pretty solid. You appear, one of your problems appears to be your clothes. And most of those look fine. I mean, you could do with some fresh socks, but... but you have in fact acquired yourself some new cuttlefish leather trousers. I bet those were built here. So that's probably making you happier. But nonetheless, who were you again? Let's set you to pull the lever repeatedly. Zuntir Asmel Zalis Metalcrafter. So what we can do is we can mark the lever as only to be operated by Zuntir Asmel Zalis. No one else may operate this lever. Zuntir Asmel Zalis may only operate this lever. I mean, and probably do some other kind of normal things, but... I think someone else is currently busy operating the lever. Right, pull the lever. Whee! Content being near a waterfall. Now I'm going to have a meeting. I think he's going to shout at the mayor. I should probably do something with those clay bricks. Where's the mayor's office? I've lost the mayor's office. Right. Has had a meeting with the mayor. Feels satisfied while yelling at someone in charge. Has improved intimidation techniques. Better at intimidating people by virtue of having just gone and shouted at the mayor. That suggests there's a dead goblin lying around somewhere. The fact that we had those messages. Where is there a dead goblin that this dwarf has recently been? I mean, those need disposing of, but those are a long way away. Pull the lever. Whee! Right. I think that may be enough lever pulling. I think there may be a... Oh no, more contentment from waterfalls coming. Brief moment of drowning there, but that seems to have been fine. And now having dinner. Right, let's also assign that lever to our other unhappy dwarf. Oh dear, the place we were trying to use as a trap, I think to tempt goblins in to be drowned, the turkey seems to have starved to death or something, and now it's all full of miasma. Oh well, it's not like we're using it for anything. Oh, there's a bit of goblin there. Please dispose of those bits of goblin. We should also reclaim now, I think, all of... Oh, there's some bits of goblin. We should also reclaim all of the objects that the goblins brought with them. Hang on, did I just set everything to gathering fruits and leaves? That's not very helpful. Oh well, it'll probably be fine. Good night, Steph. Oh yes, so our other unhappy dwarf who can operate levers. See, yes, Zuntir Asmalzalis has gone up to orange rather than red. Avuz Ginet Asmel. Oh right, I can only assign one person at a time. What's going on with Suntir Asmalzalis? Put them back on being able to do any task again. No, that wasn't the button I meant. Diziot says, this was supposed to teach them to swim, but actually it's a splishy water park for cheering them up. Now we're hauling in all of the interesting items that we can find. Got distracted from going swimming by the fact that the goblins brought a large amount of cruft. Irritated at being in the sunshine again. Now everyone's changing their clothes into new goblinite. Why are you going this way? Did you randomly leave your clothes somewhere that you now need to go and fetch them? I'm sure you'll come and pull the lever in due course. Yes. Content at being near a waterfall. Right, well that's probably helped. Yes, what? Okay, I was going to say that was a probably an incident in the swimming pool. A falling puppy, tail skids along the ground. Oh dear, yes. Well, okay, that was probably fatal. But all of the zoom to the location buttons land me here. Oh no, that is the correct height. Okay. So, but you're still too high up to have fallen into the swimming pool, I think. Well, we better deal with that corpse. So yes, it might be a bit dangerous for puppies in here. I think we may also have to turn off the pumps briefly so we can extract the dead puppy. Because it keeps washing around and this is making things unhappy. Let's temporarily shut the pumps down. Right, someone has successfully picked up the puppy corpse and is putting it somewhere useful. Namely in the rubbish. So what's going on with these stockpiles? Why aren't they taking anything? That's all correct. Except that that's backwards. That should be taking from the leather stockpile. That won't actually change anything, but right, that's set to leather. And yet there are leather shirts sitting around in that stockpile, in that workshop. Even though we definitely have shirts on, we definitely have leather as a material. We have all the quality levels. We have usable and unusable. We allow both animal, vegetable and mineral items. Ooh, it does it. Do I need to enable it as armour here? Well, let's turn these on as well, just in case they're relevant. Doesn't look like it. Right, we can probably safely start the pumps again now. So, yes, our unhappy carpenter is going round and round in circles. And we hope this is making her less stressed. But she's not even a dabbling... Oh no, hang on, it'll be under other skills, won't it? No, she's not even a dabbling swimmer yet. I mean, there are probably easier ways to get dwarves near to waterfalls, but still. Oh, novice swimmer. Excellent. See, she's learning to swim and being cheered up by being near waterfalls. Oh, and the floor grate cheered her up as well. Sadly, she has not acquired anything for too long. Well, we've got plenty of fresh clothes now. Oh, and she's off was briefly off the worst level of stressedness. No, she is. She's firmly off the worst level of stressedness, unlike Zuntir Asmelzalis, who has fallen back into it again, having relived experiencing trauma. Right. I think she did have a bit of... she fell over, had a fall that was actually slightly painful, but it was deflected by her shirt. Yes, I think puppies are a bad... are a bad match for the swimming pool. They seem to get injured rather a lot, occasionally fatally. Right, let's have Zuntir Asmelzalis again. Yes, Dizzy points out they're spending a lot of time walking around and not much time actually swimming. That's partly a consequence of the water flow being in the direction that takes them straight to the exit. Right, we're now down to one dwarf who is terribly overstressed, and that dwarf is like a tiny child. And yes, fixing their psychological trauma may take a while. So what we do still have, oh, that leatherworks no longer has any clothes in it. But is that because everyone's wearing them now, do you think? Or have they got filed somewhere I wasn't expecting? Well, we'll have to sort out the clothing storage later. Right, it does look like that we have planted a load of rock nuts here. So all being well, those might grow. That would be nice. We've only got one seriously stressed dwarf. We haven't yet run out of booze, though we do seem to have a shortage of honey. We should sort out why our honey production is not working properly. And how was that smelting of gold going? It started at least. And we might, oh yes, we still need to fix that statue, because it's quite hard to upgrade this guild hall when there isn't any space to put any statues in. Possibly we just need to put some more valuable objects on that gypsum pedestal. But like, we can't see the values of things here, so that's going to be quite hard. We'll have to work it out. Anyway, but the swimming pool was not a disaster, even though if it doesn't work how we were expecting it to work. It is slowly teaching dwarves to swim, and is cheering them up by hurling them off cliffs into waterfalls, which is like, we could probably do that a little more simply than by hurling them off the cliff, but still. It does nonetheless seem to more or less work. Maybe we would actually do better to have the exit at the upstream end somehow. So yes, that's at least a start. We don't understand where the water's going, mind. But maybe one day we'll understand that. So I think that's all for tonight. We've successfully dealt with an invading goblin army with 0 deaths on our side, if you don't count the livestock. Though I'm slightly concerned that one of the goblin thieves may have got away with someone. No, but our population hasn't gone down, so that's fine. Right, so yes, we'll see you again on Friday. When, who knows, like, we have a working swimming pool now. I'll probably be doing something incredibly tedious, like trying to work out what's going on with our clothing storage. I don't know. Or maybe I'll be trying to make the swimming pool work better. But that might involve understanding the drainage system, which is just confusing me at the moment. Oh yeah, I can think of a way to make the drainage system safe. Maybe. Safe and drainage. Well, we'll see. Anyway, that will be on Friday, probably. So until then, good night. Save and return, that's the one. Good night.